most exciting display of power in the AA Racing Report. Proudly sponsored by AA Racing, ALR Computers, Sasol Super 100, and Volkswagen South Africa. Feel the power, only on your Channel of Champions.
Goldfields Raceway between Welkom and Oudendaalsrus in the Northern Free State and round 2 of the Formula V National Championship. While the rest of the Welkom community was celebrating the city's 50th anniversary, the drivers and pit crews were focused on the racing to come. After round 1 at Zwartkops, Peter Hills was leading the championship with a full house of wins, but it's early days yet, and any of the top 7 drivers could still upset the apple cart. Second-placed Warren Campbell was optimistic about his chances at the Goldfields Raceway with its long back straight.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with 5th place on the grid. What we're going to do is get out from the start, try and get out in the lead, see if we can stay with the front cars. If we can, and the idea is to try and hang back, and you wait till the last lap. You stay about 4th or 5th, going over the start-finish line on the last lap, and that should theoretically put you at first coming onto the last lap. But you never want to go over the start-finish line on the last lap in first place. You always want to be behind. Otherwise, you're just going to end up 4th or 5th.
Very little to choose between the top 4 cars on the grid, with Hills not surprisingly a half a second ahead of teammate Anthony Taylor. There was also a 1/10 of a second between John Kutsudakis and Alan Holm on the second row. 10 laps of action on the daunting 4.2 kilometer Goldfields Raceway, and a great start by both Peter Hills and Anthony Taylor. But it's Taylor who takes the lead going into the S's. He didn't have a good start to the season and was determined to get his first points of the season. Sabat sweep, Taylor and Hills were on the ragged edge as they each tried to set their car up for the ideal exit into the Viana Straight. Lee Thompson did well to keep his car on the tarmac there. Bradley Martin had a problem at the start and he was furious with himself. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Hills had outbraked Taylor at the end of the straight. But look at Warren Campbell. He's moved up from 5th on the grid to 3rd in his Alpha Sales Sting. John Kutsudakis from Bedford View was holding station in 4th and opening up a gap to 5th placed Alan Holm in another Sting. Richard Duke from Germiston in his Vision was holding on to 11th position with Trevor Hills, Nick Flavianos and Lee Thompson in threatening mood. Coming up towards the end of the first lap, and by now the top 3 had opened up a slight lead over the second group, led by John Kutsudakis, who is moving away from Alan Holm. Into the start-finish straight, and still it's Hills. But where's Taylor? He's back in 4th behind Kutsudakis and Campbell. Must have made some mistake into the final corner. Kutsudakis is moving out to get past Campbell. Hills is now pulling away strongly, but behind him Kutsudakis has taken Warren Campbell for 2nd. But he's losing it. Nice car control, but Campbell is on the outside. This is dangerous, and he must have been doing 140 k's easily. He is moving underneath there, and he seems okay. That chassis and roll bar really saved his life that time. That's Warren Campbell's brother Mark, who stopped to check if his brother was all right. Peter Hills now way out in front, but that accident could have been very serious. Anthony Taylor now back in 2nd, but let's take yet another look. Kutsudakis gets it on the marbles and then shoots straight across the grass to try and rejoin, still foot flat and under control. But neither he nor Warren Campbell realize that they're on a collision course, and when these cars touch, the result is inevitable. Fortunately, the tub stays intact and the roll bar saves Campbell from serious neck injuries. He'll be very stiff and sore for the next few days though. Lap 4, and with Campbell and Kutsudakis out of the reckoning, Hills is still pulling further and further away from the rest of the field. Anthony Taylor is looking good for 6 points in 2nd, but Sim Grobler has a battle on his hands to keep Alan Holm away from him. Number 9 in 5th place is the Omega of Mark Parodi. Jaco Swanepoel is in 6th. Hills goes past, Taylor in 2nd through the S's. Grobler and Holm very close together, as are Parodi and Swanepoel. Taylor, the former off-road biker, settled in nicely in this often tricky formula and was pushing hard. Hills in his Vivro Bricks Raymer is looking good for his 3rd consecutive victory of the season, but behind him things are hotting up. Anthony Taylor still in 2nd position, but Sim Grobler has to defend his position against Alan Holm. Swanepoel is just awaiting his chance to take Parodi's 5th place away from him. The battle for third was now becoming the battle to watch as Parodi and Swanepoel joined Grobler and Home. In the process, they were catching second-placed Anthony Taylor. Hills, Taylor and Grobler were handily placed to give the Vibro Bricks team a 1-2-3 result. The Pretoria-based team is a very professional outfit, and it showed in the quality of racing they were putting up. In fifth, their fourth team member, Jaco Swanepoel, was determined to make it a 1, 2, 3 and 4. Still Hills, Anthony Taylor, but behind him, Alan Home has spoiled their plans by moving into third ahead of Sim Grobler, and Jaco Swanepoel was getting under the gearbox of Mark Parodi. Further back, Dennis Johns was lying in 7th position, with Lee Thompson having recovered well to get up to 8th. Trevor Hills was in 9th spot. Just more than a lap to go, and Peter Hills was still just where he wanted to be. Anthony Taylor was still safely in 2nd, thank you very much. But Mark Parodi is ducking into 3rd position past Sim Grobler. Behind them is Jaco Swanepoel, so Alan Home had been relegated down to 6th. This is a great battle, so typical of Formula V racing. It's Mark Parodi, Sim Grobler, Jaco Swanepoel and Alan Home, all fighting for 3rd and only 1 lap to go. Taylor in 2nd, then it's Parodi, Grobler and Alan Home has passed Jaco Swanepoel into 5th position. Swanepoel dives through on the inside and takes both Home and Grobler to move into 3rd. It's vital to get your line right through the Sabat sweep because that sets up a slipstreaming position down the Viana straight and an overtaking maneuver at the tight right-hander. Taylor just keeping an eye on the action behind him. Swanepoel holds the racing line under braking, but Alan Home defends 4th from Sim Grobler. Grobler stays on the outside and has the line for the next corner, and Parodi is down to 6th. This is Taylor. Going nicely. And here's the battle for 3rd. It's Swanepoel, then Home. Grobler is down to 5th, with Parodi all over him, and no predictions, even not this late in the race. But here's our winner. Peter Hills takes the checkered flag for the 3rd time in a row this season. Anthony Taylor opens his account with 6 points for a fine 2nd, while Jaco Swanepoel triumphs in the battle for 3rd, ahead of Parodi. Hills was happy with his points haul.
It would have been much nicer if the boys could have stayed with me. But it's good for me, for the TSA champs. I'm going to win it this year.
No doubt, some discussion about the 2nd lap incident in the first race, but back to the action in race 2, and we're on the 2nd lap. Again, it's Taylor who took the early lead ahead of Hills, and once again, a titanic battle for 3rd. How did you guess? But we'll get back to that fight for 3rd. This is where it's all at. Teammates Anthony Taylor and Peter Hills on the limit through Continental Corner, and not one of them willing to give an inch. Taylor on the inside, going into Westbank. Hills on the outside and holding his line, and an overtaking maneuver of note. These two boys were really mixing it, but Hills was clearly not going to wait for the opposition to catch up, and with him, it meant Taylor was pulling away from them too. So the leaders completing their 2nd lap at the sharp edge of the field, and behind them, the battle for 3rd. That's Mark Parodi, Sim Grobler, Jaco Swanepoel, and Alan Home, all in a straight line. Into the S's for the 3rd time, and behind Hills and Taylor, Swanepoel has moved past Grobler into 4th. Longest straight in South Africa, named after the legendary late Tony Viana, allows drivers the opportunity to slipstream each other, and more often than not, the first car into the straight is 2nd out of it. Just watch this. Four abreast, making use of the slipstream, and first into the right-hander is Alan Home. Jaco Swanepoel, Sim Grobler and Mark Parodi fall into line in 4th, 5th and 6th respectively. But up ahead, things are changing again. Hills had the inside line into Continental Corner and made full use of it. Alan Home is pulling away ever so slightly, and Grobler and Parodi are past Swanepoel. But he has a problem. Jaco Swanepoel, hand in the air and out of the race, and a great pity. Going through Westbank, and Peter Hills is starting to open up a gap. Swanepoel gone, the second group is also settling into a rhythm, each one working out how to get past the man just in front of him. Further back in 10th place, Richard Jute has Brandley Martin and Nick Flavianus right on his gearbox. But Martin was having a good look, wanting to overtake going up to Wesbank. 3.5 laps to go, and Peter Hills hasn't succeeded in shaking off teammate Anthony Taylor, and still, it's the trio of Grobler, Home and Parodi engaging in serious battle for third. Grobler moves into the third now, ahead of Home and Parodi. Racing, and it's Intercontinental again. It's a tricky left and right, and very easy to get wrong. Grobler doesn't, and neither does Home or Parodi, who's bunching the group closer together from behind. Parodi seems to be a little bit slower on the straight parts of the circuit, and yes, Grobler and Home are definitely pulling away. To go as they complete lap 7 of 10. At this point, they'll be getting concerned about the condition of their tyres as they watch the opposition for the tiniest of mistakes. And who's that there? It's John Kutsadakis in 6th, who was involved in that spectacular accident of Warren Campbell in the first race. Behind him is Warren's brother Mark, Lee Thompson in 8th, and Trevor Hills following him. On the last lap, and Peter Hills is seemingly safe in the lead, on track for a 4th win in a row. Hills has taken this championship by the scruff of its neck, and if he carries on like this, he's also well on his way to his first national Formula V title. And teammate Taylor looking good for his second successive podium on the day. Back to the battle for third. Grobler is still leading the pack, but Mark Parodi has made a comeback and is challenging Alan Home for 4th. Home would have none of it though. And that's the way it stayed. Hills took his second victory of the day, with Anthony Taylor raking in another 6 points. Grobler improved from the first race, with Home in 4th and Parodi in 5th. But the question was it as easy as it looked for Peter Hills?
What made it easy was that in the first heat, Warren and them had a tussle, and I got a break on the bunch, which I got away. Second heat was much different. Anthony Taylor was with me for the first couple of laps, but I managed to get away from him and win the race.